And now, for a few quick announcements. I have some wonderful news to share with you, parishioners. The Church of Athreos will be hosting its very first wedding. Blood Artist and Cruel Celebrant will be tying the knot and sharing their love of blood spilling for all of eternity, with Zulaport Cutthroat being the best man and Eiley being the maid of honor. The wedding will take place this Sunday in the sanctuary, with the reception to follow later in the fellowship hall. Mother of Runes is in charge of the catering, and she's asked me to announce that there will be non-human based dishes at the reception for those of you who don't eat human. To those of you who want to bring gifts, Dark Confidant will be in charge of storing and collecting them. Also, to the parishioners attending, please make sure Dark Confidant doesn't steal your wedding gift. Remember his mantra, wedding greatness at any cost. Also, parishioners, this is a huge celebration for the church and you are all invited. So, kick back, have some fun, and don't let Blood Artists talk you into making your blood a wedding gift. Welcome to the Church of Athreos. Have a seat, have a seat. Welcome to the Church of Athreos. Hope you're excited. But as far as our opening hand goes, this is pretty good. We've got spot removal for Nikya, but I think at this point, if we just start running any card draw, man, this is pretty clunky. So let's go ahead and mulligan on this one. Hopefully it's not too... Yeah, we'll keep on this. We've got a little bit of a painful mana base at this point, but we will 100% keep on this one. And if you're wondering why we're running Mana Confluence and City of Brass in here, sometimes we get both of them in the hand, like this does happen sometimes. But I think at this point, we'll go ahead and put, I think we'll put Eiley on the bottom, because we want Soul Ring, we want Mana Confluence, we definitely want Teysa. Oblivion Ring is going to be good. Yeah, I think the weakest thing in our hand right now is going to be Eiley. So let's go and put that on the bottom, and then we'll click OK. So opponents on the play, we'll let them get this started. But yeah, as far as why I'm running Mana Confluence and City of Brass, we do have double white, double black in here. And, you know, there's just sometimes to where the amount of utility lands that we're running, Ancient Tomb, it's just one of those things that you just might as well just... I personally enjoy running them because it makes sure that some of those double white, double blacks aren't super hard to get down. So, all right, let's go for City of Brass. Actually, we'll go Mana Confluence. That's going to be 1 mana. And we'll go Soul Ring, and hopefully this is not going to come back to bite us. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to the church. It has been way too long since we've had a church service. I just love walking into the sanctuary and smelling that fresh copper smell. Oh, beautiful smell. So let's go ahead and get our commander start. Let's go ahead and cover the commander. Ugh, running at Scavenging Ooze already. Definitely going to have an option for that Oblivion Ring for Scavenging Ooze. This is a graveyard style deck. We want to build up a Living Death, and I'm not going to let Scavenging Ooze pick off our Church of Athreos. It's been way too long. We're definitely going to kick him out of the church, and Command Tower is a very welcome sight. So let's go Command Tower. Let's go Oblivion Ring. It's going to be white, then 1-2. And yeah, we just have a lot of creatures that go to the graveyard. And my hate for Scavenging Ooze is I used to play black-white aristocrats. And so, yeah, that's 100% what we're going for. So, the deity of the church is Athreos, god of passage. Indestructible devotion 7 turns into a creature. Then, whenever another creature you own dies, return it to hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. Playing against Nikya of the Old Ways. You can't cast creature spells. Then, whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Alright, so we run into get some pretty good lands going. They're going to have Heartwood Storyteller. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they may draw a card. So well, luckily we've got a lot of creature spells in here, so that's not too crazy for us. Let's go ahead and go Polluted Delta. We're going to go Edgewalker, and that does allow us to end up going for Suture Priest pretty cheap. So let's grab ourselves Scrub Land. Let's go Edgewalker. It's going to be 1-2 off of Edgewalker, and that's going to allow us to basically just get down to Suture Priest for 1 colorless mana. I like that. Look at that. That's beautiful. Anything else? We're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We did cover both commanders. Hey, it's officially free time in the church. Let's have some fun. Now, if you're new to the channel, let's say you come via M20, looked at some of my deck techs. Church of Athreos is a deck that I made 3 years ago. It's one of the first decks that I ever made on my channel. And so if you're new to the church, make sure you sit up towards the front, and some of the pews will definitely sacrifice you during today's service so you can become an official member of the Church of Athreos. And yes, definitely want to use that ability. And also, to the other people out there, I finally got some art commissioned for the Church of Athreos. You'll see it pop up on the screen right now. You can pick it up as a playmat on the inkgaming.com, and then also I'll be kind of making a t-shirt based off the art somehow. I haven't had a chance to kind of finalize the design, but yeah, check out that art. I don't know, it's just kind of one of those moments to where, like, you know, the Church of Athreos started off as kind of like a I just wanted to build this cleric deck because I've always enjoyed clerics and Magic, and then to have art commissioned off of it. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cool. All right, so let's go. We can definitely make the lane drop for the turn. It's going to be City of Brass. Captain is unfortunately a human soldier, so we're going to have to pay full sticker price. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 total mana for the turn. I think at this point, what we'll probably end up doing is going for Teysa. We might end up actually just going Captain. I think that might be a better option. So let's go for Captain, because we just don't really have any death triggers at this point. So, and I hate for Teysa to get wrapped up in some sort of random board wipe from our opponent. So we're going to have Captain enter the battlefield. We're going to have Athreos enter the battlefield too. Let's go and going to take 1 damage. Actually, our life total is pretty good from us starting off with City of Brass and Mana Confluence in the hand. And we do have Devotion on for Athreos, so that is a very welcome sight. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, you know, it's just kind of the Church of Athreos, a little bit of backstory lore. It just really started with Dark Supplicant. I came across that card when I was looking through some like old tribal stuff, and I was like, man, this is really cool. And also, if you're a fan of Welcome to Night Vale, that intro is definitely a shout out to Welcome to Night Vale. That's one of those. I listened to a lot of Welcome to Night Vale back in the day. I was getting caught up through the entire series. I haven't listened to it in recent times. I'm probably 5-10 episodes back, but I did completely mow through their catalog. And if you don't know about Welcome to Night Vale, highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's an awesome podcast. Don't listen to too much of it at once. You might end up making the Church of Athreos, is what I kind of did. If you listen to a lot of it, you get kind of like what is real life anymore? And everything, you kind of question everything, but hey, that's some good stuff right there. All right, so we're going to lose Devotion, but we get Westvale Cult Leader to flip, which is also going to give us some more Cleric tokens, which is exactly what we want to see. So let's see what we draw. Ooh, Vampiric Tutor. Now that is really good. So if something kind of gnarly does end up happening, we can actually end up going for, board reset. We're completely open for a Vampiric Tutor, so I like that. Let's go Teysa Karlov. That's going to be 1/2 Scrubland. And this is going to turn Devotion back on for Athreos. And at this point, with us sitting down at a 5/5, we might still just go and swing in. Yeah, definitely want to use that ability. It's going to put us back up to 30. So they can't swing in with Nikya. Now, if we end up just not swinging in with Athreos, and that's really, yeah, I think we might want to end up, no, excuse me, Westvale Cult Leader sitting at a 5/5. Yeah, we can just go and push in with Athreos. So that'll be good. So let's go and swing in with Athreos. It's going to be a 5/5 body, 5/4, excuse me. And the good thing about Athreos is indestructible. So that's just a really good feeling that we can just swing in and try to chip away at our opponent's life total. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. And you're going to get to meet the Sunday school teacher of the church. Look at this. This is the church's Sunday school teacher. All the kids love him. So he's won, I think he's won Sunday school teacher of the year 3 years in a row. Something like that. I have to check the church records, but he's our Sunday school teacher. But yeah, outside of the art that I've commissioned for the church, this is my favorite deck. If I were to, if you were to think about whatever sort of commander deck you would take with you to a desert island, you only get one commander deck, this would be it, because there's just so many ways that you can win with this deck. Bane of Progress on Scavenging Ooze. Okay, so that's going to get rid of Soul Ring and that. Yeah, let's just go and jam a quick Vampiric Tutor, I think. Let's see what else they end up going for. Yes, definitely going to use that ability. Because now we're going to have to deal with Scavenging Ooze. We might, if we want to get a little bit fun, might end up going for something like Toxic Deluge. That'll be a pretty good way to kind of reset the board and attack our opponent's life total. Yes, we'll definitely use that ability because we want to wait on Vampiric Tutor because they've got one card in the hand. And they're going to get a card draw from Heartwood Storyteller. So we're going to wait until they're in step to go for this Vampiric Tutor. But we'll see what it is. See what else they're tapping out for. Ooh, an Acidic Slime. Okay, let's see what they end up going. Probably going to blast one of the lands, to be perfectly honest. If that's the case, let's see what they end up targeting. We might... Yeah, they're going to target this Mana Confluence. So let's go and add black mana to our mana pool. Definitely going to use that Suture Bridge. So now we're in a pretty rough spot, to be perfectly honest. We've got 3 lands, which is not good. And they've got 0 cards in hand. I think we still end up going for Vampiric Tutor just to find something. Let's see what they're going to exile. Oh, they're going to exile Farhaven Elf from their own graveyard. Okay, so that'll work out. So let's go ahead and jam a Vampiric Tutor really quick. That's going to give them a card draw, but they've only got 2 mana available with that mountain. So we can make something work out of this. And I'm almost tempted just to straight up just go Toxic Deluge on this. Just get the double Tesa activations. Yeah, I think Toxic is going to be our best bet. So let's grab Toxic Deluge. Just put that on top of our library. There we go. So we're going to grab Toxic. It's going to go on top. Yeah, even if we just go for something like Mana Crypt to help us get ahead on mana, we're going to be fighting a Scavenging Ooze the entire game. And we're going to be fighting a Heartwood Storyteller the entire game. And so just hitting a reset, we're going to get double Tesa activations. And I think this will be a good thing for us. And it also, that kind of puts them in a spot where they've got to retap out for Nikya. And they've only got one card in the hand. So hopefully we can... yeah, we've already gone for the tutor, but I still like this line of play that we're doing. So, okay, so Toxic Deluge, we can swing in first. We're looking at 6/6. How do we want to sequence this? Yeah, and since they have no green mana, let's go and push in. We're going to push in with Westvale Cult Leader and Athreos God of Passage. So let's go and push in. And we'll see if this offers up any blocks. They can double block if they want to, but either way, we've got the... we're going to have the Toxic Deluge coming down, so we'll be in a pretty good spot. So that's going to be 5 coming across. It's going to be double Athreos triggers thanks to Tesa Karlov. And you can see where, this deck is so much fun to play because you get these just interactions. Simply just having Tesa on the battlefield, getting that double interaction like that is just a really nice feeling. So and our opponent might be playing double Athreos triggers. We'll see. The good thing about us getting rid of Militia is that with Toxic, it's going to be a little bit of an easier Toxic for us. So right now, we need to simply just go for 5. So let's go Toxic equal 5. Okay, so it's going to give him an additional card draw, unfortunately off Heartwood Storyteller. But as the game progresses, the longer this Storyteller's on the battlefield, the harder it is for us to really get anything going. And if you're building a completely creature-based deck with Heartwood Storyteller, it is very rough. So the good thing is we should get most of these creatures back to our hand. And let's see how our opponent wants to divvy up these Athreos triggers. Okay, so they're going to give us Tesa back, Suture Priest, and Edgewalker. And then anything else, let's just go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So, fingers crossed, we do want to run into some sort of mana ramp. Artifact would be perfect. We can still get a pretty good board state going. The only downside is once they get down Nikya, they're going to be able to generate a ton of mana. So, we're probably going to be going Edgewalker next turn. We maybe could have done something a little bit differently with that Vampiric Tutor last turn, but with them getting down Scavenging Ooze, with them going for Bane of Progress and then unleashing Scavenging Ooze, it makes it really hard for us to kind of get anything going on our side. So, Thrain Dynamo, okay, it's not too bad. If we run into a land, that'll definitely help us get back on mana. So, and I guess, yeah, let's do that. So let's go for Edgewalker, because that's going to allow us, and there's a ton of clerics in here. That's really going to allow us to kind of refuel our board state, get a lot more creatures on the battlefield. So let's go Edgewalker. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, with the Church of Athreos, I think it's the... there's a few decks that are the longer running decks on my channel, but the Athreos has been the one that has been the most consistent. And I'm going to try to get a lot better about doing these church services because, it's always good to go to church. And Athreos likes to see you in the pews. And if you're new to the church, it's always a good way to get more parishioners into the actual church itself. And so it's a fun way to... welcome more bodies into the church. And plus, it's just a fun deck to pilot. We got prime time coming down. One of the things about Athreos is that, like I mentioned earlier, it's just different every single time. There's sometimes where we get down Skirt Stack High Priest, and we end up getting a lot of demons on the battlefield. We have a very heavy Blood Artist game where we start sacrificing a lot of creatures. It's just a ton of fun. Now, I am playing 1 versus 1 Commander. This is slightly different from regular Commander, in that we pretty much have the same ban list, except for some reason, Primetime is unbanned in 1 versus 1 Commander. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but if you're wondering why that big ugly dude's over there, hey, that's it over there. We run into Cold Steel Heart. We're going to have that enter the battlefield, but I think our opponent's going to get it on this one, unfortunately. Let's see. That's going to be 1 damage to us. That's going to put us down to 15. And then we can go for Suture Priest. I think at this point, we'll just go and choose black. And then we'll go Suture Priest for just 1 mana. But yeah, with Primetime coming down, they've got open mana with Keswick Wolf Run. They're going to be able to deal a ton of damage. So we're simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Yeah, with that, there's one thing this church hates, and that's scavenging ooze. Because what we're trying to do is, you saw what happened. We went for the toxic deluge. We sacrificed a lot of creatures. They went to the graveyard. What we want to do is we want to go for living death. We have living death. We have rally the ancestors. We have a couple different things that allow us to kind of cast our graveyard or bring it back out of the graveyard and start sacrificing all the creatures and then going from there. So with scavenging ooze, it's just one of those cards that it's really hard to deal with, and especially in this deck because they're going to get some life gain, they're going to exile our threats, and once they do that, then it's just really hard for us to kind of get any sort of forward momentum between our board state and between the graveyard, because we're kind of building this cycle between on the playing field and in the battlefield. So opponent's going to go for prime time. Let's see what lands they end up grabbing off of prime time. Okay, so we got a 29-7 primetime swinging across. Even if we block, there's nothing we can do about it. It's got trample, and everybody's got trample, and that's going to be a ton of damage. So unfortunately, the church got hit on this one. We tried to kind of rebound with the toxic deluge, but our opponent went for Bane of Progress. They got rid of our mana rock, and they got rid of unleashed scavenging ooze from the church's dungeons. That was pretty much what made us lose the game. So, but if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed your time here at the church, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Have a seat, have a seat. Welcome to the Church of Athreos. And as far as our opening hand goes, yeah, this looks pretty good. We don't really have a ton of card draw, but we've got 3 lands. We've got a Cold Steel Heart. We've got Mother of Runes. It's always nice to have her on the battlefield, and hopefully we get lucky and run into some card draw. So let's go lead off with Marsh Flats, and I think at this point, we're probably just going to go for Mother of Runes. So let's go and grab ourselves a Scrab land, have that come into play. Let's tap down for Mother of Runes. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to the church. It's been way too long since we've had a church service. Just love walking into the sanctuary and smelling that fresh copper smell. Oof, smells good. Playing against Hazoret too, so should be a fun little match. Let's go Viscera Seer. Yeah, I think that'd be good. So we go Viscera Seer, and we have Athreos Necromancer, actually a wonderful parishioner of the church, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Now that I think about it, let's just go Cold Steel Heart. Kind of want to ramp pretty quick, if we can, especially with our opponent. Let's go and choose, I think at this point, we're just going to choose black for Cold Steel Heart. And then we're going to go and pass turn over to our opponent. So let's go and cover the actual deity of the church, and that's going to be Athreos, God of Passage, Indestructible. A Devotion 7 turns into a creature. Then, whenever another creature we own dies, return it to our hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. Playing against Hazoret the Fervent. Blood Moon. Huh. Alright. Okay, that's going to be Blood Moon. Playing against Hazoret the Fervent. Indestructible Haste. Hazoret can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. Then for a 3-mana activation, discard a card. Hazoret deals 2 damage to each opponent. So we are a little bit stuck on black mana with that Cold Steel Heart. So hopefully we can we can get pushed past on this one. Linda the Dusk Rose. Let's go Volrath Stronghold. Let's see. Athreos Necromancer, I guess, gets it kind of done. So let's go for Necromancer. We'll have that enter the battlefield, and then we're simply just going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. It is officially free time in the church. We can have some fun. Now with Blood Moon, oh man, Blood Moon, it's just, there's like Winter Orb, and then there's Blood Moon and Commander that I'm just like, okay. Because it's a singleton format, and this isn't like ultra competitive, but it's just, anyway. Blood Moon. But anyway, welcome to the church. We've got some new additions to the church. We've got, it's been way too long. We've got Cruel Celebrant, which is going to be the person that Blood Artist is marrying. Super excited about that. Blood Artist has been one of the founding members of the church since we started, and so to have him finally marry somebody that he loves very much, that shares his passion for killing and for having fun with blood, that is so Sword of, yeah, that's fine. It's going to have Sword of Fire and Ice enter the battlefield. Now, what we may end up doing is just getting down Viscera Seer, and then we can start sacrificing some humans to get some zombies. That might work out. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, I'm really excited about that, the wedding ceremony. In fact, it's the first wedding ceremony that we've had here at the church, so I felt like that was pretty cool. In fact, yeah, let's go and go for that. Let's go Viscera Seer. That's going to be black mana. And let's go and push in for 2. Because at this point, we definitely want to protect Mother of Runes. We're going to swing for 2, knock them down to 26, and then we'll pass turn back over there. Now, if we do get lucky and we run into 1 more black source, 1 more basic black land, and then we'll be able to go for Phyrexian Arena. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. But yeah, they're getting married, and we also have some brand new security for the church, and that's going to be the Corpse Knight. love that effect. And if you think about Corpse Knight and you're going for something like Living Death, you end up getting a pretty nice little kind of aristocrats package that really helps kind of smooth it out. And do we want to sacrifice Mother of Runes at this point just to get an extra zombie on the battlefield? It's going to be a 2/2. I think we can wait on that because maybe we get down to Linda. All right, so we run into Scourge-Stag High Priest. Kind of like that. Yeah, let's go Scourge-Stag High Priest. Have Scourge-Stag enter the battlefield. Let's go and push in for 3. It's going to knock our opponent down to, actually, I'm going to leave up Mother of Runes. There we go. I'm going to swing it for 3, put them down to 23, and then I will go and pass the turn. So, now, we do have enough creatures on the battlefield to end up going for a activation with Scourge-Stag. We've got a Sack Outlet, we've got an Athreos Necromancer. That does kind of put us in this weird spot to where we might end up having to sacrifice Mother of Runes or Necromancer, but at this point we might end up just sacrificing Necromancer, because if we sacrifice Necromancer, that's going to give us a 2/2 zombie because it is a human, and then that's going to allow us to get a 5/5 demon. So hopefully that might allow us to kind of put a little bit of pressure on our opponent and fight through this Blood Moon. You know, Blood Moon doesn't scare the Church of Athreos. It's just, you know, it's just not fun to play against sometimes. And hey, but that's just how Magic goes. It's a legal card format. But yeah, as far as new additions to the church, Corpse Knight, Cruel Celebrant, Doom Whisperer, everyone knows Doom Whisperer's been in here. And then also God Eternal Bantu, which he loves. When he heard about the Church of Athreos, once Nicol Bolas brought him to Ravnica, he joined the church immediately. So we're really glad to have God Eternal Bantu. That really makes us happy that he decided to make a home here. So God Eternal Bantu really allows us to, if we get a lot of parishioners on the battlefield, we can sacrifice them in the name of Athreos and get a lot of triggers, get a lot of card draw, and that just makes everybody happy. So that's always a good thing. All right, opponent's going to go for Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from red and blue, onto Legion War Boss. So we'll see what sort of shenanigans we can go for, but I think at this point we're just going to go and block on Scourge-Stag High Priest. That'll be a good option. So that's going to get rid of that Gerblin, and let's see what we draw into, because we want to get this active Morbid for Scourge-Stag High Priest. Run into Caves, which is not going to be anything. So we'll go for Caves, and I think... So they can swing in with Legion War Boss. We've got Reanimate. So I think let's just hold on to Reanimate. Don't really want to push past Legion War Boss. Sitting at a 4/4, we can actually just wait until next turn to end up going for the Demon activation. If they swing in and don't, anticipate Scourge-Stag High Priest, they get the Goblin down, then that also allows us to go for that. So I think that's what we're probably going to end up doing, is getting down Scourge-Stag, or wait for them to swing in with Legion War Boss and go for that. But one of the other cool things about the church, it's been a long time, I had some art commissioned for the church. It should be popping up on the screen right now. Had it, it's Dio, let me look it up real quick. Ooh, and they're going to go for Sword of War and Peace too. It's going to be Dios Rev Orerdo, and I think that's how you say it, but he's an illustrator on Twitter, and he did the Church of Athreos. So you can see it up there, and also you can, if you want to represent the Church of Athreos, it is available as a playmat on inkgaming.com. So that is also, but yeah, really excited about that church. It was just really kind of cool to have the protection from white and blue. All right, so they're not going to swing in. Let's still go for the block with Goblin, because what that's going to allow us to do is kind of dodge that, us having to sacrifice one of our creatures to get active Morbid for Scourge-Stag High Priest. So let's go and go for the Scourge-Stag activation. That's going to give us a 5/5 demon, and I still think at this point we'll probably end up going for is just sacrificing Athreos Necromancer, and that way it's going to give us a 2/2 zombie, and then we can still end up going for the Reanimate off of on Athreos Necromancers. Yeah, it's going to get the Scry going with Viscerus here. Oh, there it is, Oblivion Ring. We can't go for that, so let's definitely put that on the bottom right now. We run into we're running like 3 basic lands in here, so we have to get really lucky to get some of that stuff going. So let's go and Reanimate on Athreos Necromancer. Have that come back. Let's go and push in with the 5/5 Demon. Oh, look at that. Be swinging across. If we wanted to, we could try to push past everybody, but I think we're just going to get some good demons coming. All right, so we got the demons. So they're going to swing in them, knock them down to 18. And then, yeah, I guess we'll just end up going for Thran Dynamo. That gives us a bunch of mana if we can fight through that Blood Moon somehow. And then we'll go and pass turn over our opponent. But yeah, it was really cool to have this deck that I built so long ago. And actually, if you're new to the channel, if you're a new parishioner, make sure you sit up towards the front. We'll sacrifice you during today's service. But one of the cool things about the Church of Athreos is what it started out as. It just kind of started out as like a black-white cleric. Really, honestly, just kind of it was a dark supplicant. You know, I saw that card looking through cleric stuff. I was like, man, I want to make a deck around this guy, and so that's where it came from. And so just to kind of get to the point to where we've got this, okay, we've got the mentor ability. At this point, since we do have a sack outlet, what we're going to actually end up doing is we're going to put the counter onto Gerblin. And we're going to get a little fancy with this, what we've got going on. So I'm going to put the +1 trigger on there. We're going to block the zombie token. Actually, I will go Necromancer on Goblin. We're going to go zombie. Actually, they have protection from black. Can anything block it? Nothing can basically block the Legion War Boss because it's protection from black and green, protection from red and white. So basically, they have protection from our deck. So there's nothing that we can do on this one. So we're going to have a Necromancer block. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's have the zombie token block on the goblin. That way we have active Morbid. Now that does give them a ton of triggers that they can end up going for with Legion War Boss. But yeah, they're going to untap their lands. They're going to also be able to gain life for each card in their hand. And they're going to be able to deal 2 damage. So they're going to put the 2 damage over to Athreos Necromancer. So we'll go ahead and give Athreos Necromancer. Actually, we can't give that protection from a colored source. So might as well just go and sacrifice Necromancer. So we're going to go and sacrifice Necromancer. That's going to give us a 2/2 zombie. We can still end up going for the Morbid activation. It's going to give us another 5/5 demon, and then Razaketh, which way far away from Razaketh. We'll put that on the bottom. So, all right, they're going to gain 1, and I guess at this point with the Linda, I think we have a better chance of actually getting Phyrexian Arena to stick. So we'll just kind of go with that for this point right now. Now, they do get to untap their lands. We've got a pretty good chunk of damage coming across. Oh, Blasphemous Act. Okay. All right, so that's going to be Hazoret coming down. And let's see what else we've got going on, because it looks like they're going to be able to close this one out. All right, put Sword of Feast and Famine onto Hazoret and run into Read the Bones. Well, we'll go ahead and Read the Bones. It's going to be black, 1/2. Swords in that. Yeah, we're not going to get it done. So good game to our opponent. They're definitely going to get it on this one. We're just going to go and scoop this one up. But yeah, this, Blood Moon and Commander. That'll get pretty much every deck out there. So, hey, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Have a seat. Have a seat. Welcome to the Church of Athreos. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep on this one. I like it. We got Weather Wayfarer playing against Muldrotha, too. It should be a pretty fun little match. So hopefully we get off to a pretty nice start. We've got some wonderful mana in the hand too. We've got Worn Power Stone, Thran Dynamo. The only thing that is missing is a little bit of card draw, but hopefully we get that. We get lucky on that. And our opponent's going to lead off with Urborg, which I will definitely welcome. Now, our opponent's going to go for Inquisition of Kozilek. Probably going to grab Weather Wayfarer, but to be perfectly honest, that's if they grab that, we've still got a Sack Outland Bloodthrone Vampire, and we still have Worn Power Stone, so I will definitely take that. We're drawn to Scrubland, so let's go lead off with Flagstone because that's the last thing our opponent saw. And want to keep them on their toes as far as whatever lands we got. Then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turret over to our opponent. We are worshiping the deity Athreos, god of passage today. Indestructible, devotion 7. Turns into a creature. Then whatever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. Playing against Muldrotha, the grave type. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. And that's going to be lands, that's going to be artifacts, it's going to be enchantments, pretty much anything that is a permanent. So, pretty cool. Pretty fun little, pretty fun commander. If you haven't built Muldrotha, it is a, that is some good magic. So let's go Scrubland, let's go Bloodthrone Vampire. This is my absolute favorite sack outlet. If you play a lot of Aristocrats, at some point you'll develop some sort of a sack outlet that's your favorite. Viscera Seer is a very common sack outlet among various churches of Athreos is out there, but Bloodthrone Vampire is my favorite. I love it. It's just good to sack outlet. There's a lot of times where you can swing in as a 1/1. They're not really expecting anything like that. Then you swing in, sack a bunch of creatures. Next thing you know, Bloodthrone Vampire is an 8/8 or a 10/10. That's going to force some spot removal from them. So, I don't know, it's pretty cool. All right, opponent's going to go for Pernicious Deed. Now, here's the kick. Here's the downside. That's going to be really hard against the Church of Athreos. Here at the church, we like to keep it a little bit low on converted mana cost. So, we'll see what we can do about that. kind of makes me not want to run out Worn Power Stone if that's what they're going to end up going for. So let's go Swamp. And let's jam a Rotlung Reanimator. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So we're going to go for Rotlung Reanimator, have that enter the battlefield. And if we can get a few more clerics down, that'll allow us to get a couple zombies going. And let's go and push in. I think that'll be good. Well, swinging into Bloodthorn Vampire, because if they want to trade with this one, we can get a 2/2 zombie on the battlefield, which I'm okay with. And yeah, I think actually we'll just go ahead and let that go through. Yeah, because I really don't want to cut our opponent off any sort of card draw, so I'm okay with that interaction. Then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, we did cover both commanders. It is officially free time here at the church. We can have some fun. Now, I mentioned in a few other videos, if you're new to the church, make sure you sit up towards the front. We like to sacrifice a lot of our new parishioners. That way we can welcome them to the official Church of Athreos. It makes Athreos happy, it makes the parishioners happy, and it fills the sanctuary with that beautiful copper smell. It's just really nice. Just really kind of have it fill your nose. So it makes blood artists really happy too. And whenever you get new parishioners up on the sacrificing altar. So pretty cool. Let's let's go Volraz Stronghold. And I think at this point, so we go Worn Power Stone. Yeah, let's go and go Worn Power Stone. That might be enough for them to go and crack the deed. I just don't want to be playing around that the entire game. And when you're playing around something like deed, what you probably want to do, or not probably, but most of the time what you're trying to do is you just want to get enough incremental value out there to where you're kind of going to put them in the territory of, should I pop it or should I not pop it? And so with us having Worn Power Stone down, Rotling Reanimator, that might kind of push them into that territory of want to go and sacrificing Pernicious Deed. So if anything, that'll cut them off Muldrotha for the turn. And we'll see if they end up going for that, because, you know, getting a 2-for-1 off of Deed is a pretty good thing. So let's see, we're drawn to Guildgate. So let's have Guildgate enter the battlefield. Now, if we end up going for Thran Dynamo, we can reset with Teysa Karlov after that. Yeah, let's go Thran Dynamo. Because here's the downside. With D, they can keep bringing it back, and that's going to be really hard for us to kind of deal with. So that's going to be 1-2. Pretty much, there's two things this church doesn't want to see, and that is a ton of graveyard hate, or something that can basically bring back out of the graveyard and keep popping a lot of our converted mana cost stuff. That's pretty hard for us to deal with. So let's go for Athreos. That's going to be 1-2. Have Athreos into the battlefield, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So a little bit stuck on kind of what we want to end up doing. Our opponent does have Muldrotha, so they can actually go for Muldrotha next turn. As far as what they've got coming out of the graveyard, there's nothing too kind of crazy over there. They've got Expedition Map, which will become a problem as the game wears on. There's Dark Confidant, which, you know, if this is a lower converted mana cost build of Muldrotha, that's probably something we don't really want to see. We do have Fiend Hunter, so that's going to allow us to at least kind of go for a quick exile with Muldrotha. That's going to send Muldrotha back to the command zone. If we find a sack outlet in some form or fashion, we can actually have Fiend Hunter enter the battlefield, sacrifice it, and then use that trigger to be a permanent exile. So we'll see what we can do with that. But with them having Command Beacon and Muldrotha is pretty much just like, oh, it is hard to do anything with that. Okay, so see what we draw into. All right, so that is enough for them to go for Deed. I don't really think there's too much that we would end up going for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess technically we could end up going for Volraz Stronghold, and then going for Fiend Hunt, going for Weathered Wayfarer just to get a few more lands. But I think I'd kind of rather see what we've got going on as far as the draw goes. There's no activations that we need to go for, so yeah, we're going to let that go on through. All right, it's going to give us a 2/2 zombie. It's also going to give us an Athreos trigger. So let's see what our opponent wants to do about this. We can bring back Rotling Reanimator, which is pretty nice feeling. Getting a cleric and getting it back to our hand. Oh, look at that zombie token. That's some good zombie token right there. All right, so they're going to pay the 3 life to leave Rotling in the graveyard. And then we run into Soul Ring. So let's go for Soul Ring. Let's go Teysa Karlov. And we still don't have enough devotion for Athreos, so we're simply just going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. If they end up going for Muldrotha next turn, that's going to be 6 mana. We don't have to worry about Deed again. We can buy us a little bit of time with Fiend Hunter, and then hopefully we can get ourselves a little bit of a bigger threat on the battlefield, because with Muldrotha, if you never played against her, one of the downsides to Muldrotha is that your graveyard is basically just an extension of your hand. So we've got 1 card in the hand, opponent's got 3 cards in their hand, but with them having 6 cards in the graveyard, they essentially have a 9-card hand. You can see they're going to make the lane drop out of the graveyard, then go for Expedition Map, then Elvish Mystic. I mean, basically that's what makes Muldrotha so hard, is that, you know, it's just, you have your entire graveyard as your hand. Now, we're not running Rest in Peace in here because this deck in particular relies heavily on the graveyard to get stuff going. So that's a little bit of a downside. Let's go Fiend Hunter. That way we can at least get rid of Muldrotha just for a little bit. So we're going to have Fiend Hunter enter the battlefield. We're going to exile Muldrotha. And look at that. That zombie's going to have Vigilance and Lifelink thanks to Teysa, which is really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're actually 1 devotion away, unfortunately, from Athreos. So let's go and push in. I'm going to swing in with the crew. That's going to be 4. It's going to put them down to 22. And we're going to make the lane drop for the turn for sure. So we'll have this enter the battlefield. I'm not going to pay 2 live. And then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So our opponent did put Muldrotha underneath Fiend Hunter. So that makes me think that they have some sort of spot removal for Fiend Hunter. And if that's the case, you know, it's okay. We'll get an Athreos trigger out of the deal. And we can still end up going for Volrath Stronghold if they end up... you know, getting rid of Fiend Hunter in some form or fashion. So that'll be a way that we can at least kind of keep them on lockdown. Not super excited about just going for the, ooh, Damnation. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be some triggers. So, but the good thing about it is it's going to be double Teysa triggers. So we'll take that. Let's get these triggers on the stack. We're going to target our opponent. They're going to give us back, actually, they're going to give us back Fiend Hunter, which is a really nice thing instead of us having to put in, because we were going to debate about putting Fiend Hunter on top of Volrath Stronghold, but that's going to give us another option to get rid of Muldrotha. So I will take that. Now, here's the only downside. They do have open mana. They're probably going to end up going for D down at the graveyard, I would assume, and that's going to make this Fiend Hunter a little bit harder. So, but we're still going to end up forcing the issue because they can actually go for Fiend Hunter. They're going to have to go X equals 3. They're actually going to pop Soul Ring. Yeah, that's fine. We could add that mana. There's nothing really we want to put on top of our library, so we're going to let that Soul Ring go on through. And we'll go for Fiend Hunter next turn on Muldrotha. That's going to force them to have some sort of spot removal that they already used it, and we're doing okay on mana. We've got 6 mana, so let's go and have Command Tower enter the battlefield. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we actually got just enough mana for it. So let's go for Fiend Hunter on Muldrotha. And now if Muldrotha goes back to the command zone, then we'll know that they don't have any spot removal. All right, so we're going to exile Muldrotha. It's going to go back under. Let's go for Teysa. Now, since they did put Muldrotha underneath Fiend Hunter, we do need to watch out for spot removal, but there's nothing that we can do about it, so we'll at least do that. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, you know, as far as the actual Church of Athreos, I want to get better about doing some of these church videos. I very much enjoy playing this deck. I think one of the things that I do is I get bottlenecked on trying to come up with intros for it. So I'm going to try to balance that in some form or fashion. So, all right, opponent's going to have Executioner's Capsule and destroy, yeah, that's going to get rid of Fiend Hunter. So you can see what I'm talking about with Muldrotha is that there's just that overlapping value that is just really hard to deal with. So we're going to target our opponent with this Athreos trigger. That's going to be Fiend Hunter coming back. Let's see if they end up paying for the triggers or not. And they're going to go for Pernicious Deed. Now, once your Muldrotha opponent has a Pernicious Deed on the battlefield, this is one of those cards that is just so hard to beat against Muldrotha because pretty much you can go X equals 5 every single turn. And with Muldrotha being a 6 converted mana cost and a 6/6, it is hard to stop that from happening. So a little bit of a downside, but that is, we're going to try our best. But if you're keeping score at home or if you're keeping score in the church pews, it's probably not looking so hot. So let's see what we draw into. Then we run into Skirtstag High Priest. Now, with us getting down Skirtstag, that does give us the option to go for some demons. I guess we still go and force the Fiend Hunter line of play on Muldrotha. Yeah, might as well. I mean, because even if we hold on to it, we either A, want these cards in the graveyard or we want them in our hand. So let's go Fiend Hunter. It's going to exile Muldrotha. Let's go Skirtstag High Priest. Okay, and that does turn on Devotion for Athreos. Let's go and push in for 5. If they're going to go for D, they're going to have to pop a lot of these creatures, and I feel okay with this. So we're going to swing in for 7. You know, we're not going to give the game up. We're going to try. We're going to have Elvish Mystic jump in front of Athreos. It's going to learn the word of Athreos. We'll make them a cleric later. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, you know, and actually, if you're new to the channel and you want to kind of delve into the Church of Athreos, go over to my playlist. It's the Church of Athreos. You can actually type that Church of Athreos into YouTube. And if you want to start from the beginning, hey, made this deck 3 years ago, and it's a little rough. I'm definitely not anywhere close to what I'm in now as far as quality-wise. So if you start from the very, very beginning, you get to see old baby Jolt and catch some of the old videos. You can see some of my awkward first intros, and I've gotten a lot better about it since then. But a little bit viewer be warned that some of the older videos may not have the same quality standard. But hey, if you want to be at the church since the beginning, there you go. It's a fun spot to start. Opponent's going to go for Nile Spellbomb. Yeah, this game is getting out of hand very quickly, so this is going to be pretty rough. So especially if they end up paying for these triggers, we'll see. But yeah, that's going to bring them back. The only way we can really kind of set something up is by going Volrath Stronghold. And oh yeah, they're going to go for the Spell Bomb activation. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, so our graveyard has been exiled, and that's going to bring Muldrotha back onto the battlefield. There's going to be 2 Athreos triggers, which probably not going to pay because there's no more creatures. And so that's going to put them at 19. We're at 32. Now, if we run into another creature somehow, if we end up getting a 5/5 demon, we might be able to get some good stuff going. But once again, with Pernicious Deed, if we get a demon on the battlefield, they can just pop it for 0, recast it, and then still kind of have that threat on the battlefield. So you can see why it is just so hard to beat Muldrotha, because there's just basically you have an extent, your graveyard becomes your hand, and you have like a 10-card hand at most times, and Deed, especially with the Lion's Eye Diamond. If you want to see some good Muldrotha stuff, check out some of my earlier Muldrotha videos. You go for Lion's Eye Diamond, and that is just gnarly. And it does leave you open to some, graveyard hate. But Lion's Eye Diamond with Muldrotha is, oh, whew, that is some good magic. There's sometimes in Magic where you do some stuff that is busted, but it's legal. But you're like, yeah, this is kind of BS. I agree with you. That's exactly what this one is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can have Bygone Bishop. Yeah, I mean, if we're going for the demons, maybe our opponent sacrifices something, or I don't know. But at this point, once they start to sacrifice our creatures, that's going to be really hard. We do have an open Volrath Stronghold, so that's going to allow us to maybe get something going. But yeah, I don't think we want to swing with Scourge Dagger because we can't even, or Teysa, because we can't even make a demon. So we're simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, this is with the Nile Spellbomb loop and the Pernicious Deed combo, kind of 1-2 punch. It's going to be hard for us to kind of assemble anything at this point, because one of the ways that this deck does win is we have Living Death, we have Rally the Ancestors. We want to have ways that we can kind of reanimate our graveyard. That way we can start to sacrifice some of our creatures. We can get those Athreos triggers, we can get Blood Artist triggers. You can imagine having Teysa on the battlefield, where if we have Blood Artists on the battlefield, we sacrifice a couple creatures. That's going to be multiplied times 2. Let's say that we have Corpse Knight on the battlefield, we have everybody enter the battlefield. That's not going to help with Teysa, but you can see where we're just trying to build as much overlapping synergy as possible, to where once we get just X equals 5 creatures or more on the battlefield, it's going to be really hard for our opponent to stop that. So now with Teysa down, they're going to go for the plus ability on Teysa, or excuse me, the minus ability. And they're going to grab Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is... this game is left into outer space at this point right now. So let's go ahead and let them do this turn. We'll see what they do. And then I'll hop in with some commentary. Okay, so they're going to pop our Bygone Bishop, which is going to be double Athreos triggers. Now, we do have active Morbid. Here's the downside. We just don't have any sort of active creatures to sacrifice. Now, we could put Bygone Bishop back on top of our library, but Bygone Bishop is not going to win us the game. So we're going to go ahead and let this Nile Spellbomb go through. Okay, then they pass the turn and we run into Flooded Strand, which is not so hot. We are running into Pernicious Deed, so we need as much mana as possible. Normally I would hold on to a land at this point, but yeah, we'll just go and crack the land, and I think we'll just go and grab a Plains, because that way we know there's one less Plains that we can draw into, and then we'll go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But at this point, they've got enough value to where they don't start swinging with Muldrotha, they're pretty much going to be able to get it on this one. So we'll let them kind of go through their turn, and then I'll hop in with commentary. Okay, and our opponent goes for Control Magic on Teysa, and that's going to be, it's probably going to be a good game. All right, and we run into City of Brass, so we're going to go and scoop this one up. There's just sometimes in Magic where we can try to outdraw our opponent, but between Narset, between Vivian, between Jace, between Nile Spellbomb and Deed, our opponent's basically got the board on lockdown, and it's just a matter of time before they start swinging Muldrotha for commander damage. So good game to our opponent. That was a beautifully played game, and yeah, good shout out to them. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get some good church services today, but we're going to be hopping in the church very soon. And so if you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed your time at the church, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.